Beloved gospel music icon Bill Gaither, who has touched millions with his inspiring songs and magnetic presence, is now going through a painful personal challenge. His health has worsened significantly, and those close to him are preparing for the hardest moments as Bill fights to hold on. His family and friends quietly say their goodbyes, reflecting on the remarkable legacy he has created. Stay with us as we look inside Bill Gaither's life in this heartfelt story of love, strength, and the lasting impact of a life dedicated to music. That rumors about Bill Gaither retiring have been circulating in recent months. Speculation is growing about whether Bill Gaither is ready to step away, signaling the end of an era for one of the most influential figures in Christian music. His absence from public events has caused concern among devoted fans and followers. The gospel legend, famous for his work with the Gaither vocal band and his impact on Christian music, is a name many recognize. His songs, full of meaningful spiritual themes and strong lyrics, have connected with millions over the years. However, in the last few years, fans and insiders have noticed a change in Gaither's public appearances. He has shown up less often at live shows, and his presence on TV and concerts has dropped. This led to rumors that Gaither could be planning to retire. Some suggest his health might be worsening, which could explain why he's been away from the spotlight. For someone who has spent decades performing and traveling, it's not unexpected that age might be catching up with him. Speculation grew as fans saw that Gaither, once full of energy, was less visible publicly. Reports even surfaced that close friends were talking about a transition plan for the ministry, preparing for a future without him at the helm. Given his age and health concerns, many wondered if this was the beginning of the end for his career. As the rumors spread, some began to question whether the Gaither vocal band would soon lose its main figure. For years, Bill Gaither had been the driving force behind the ministry, guiding its direction and making sure its music reached millions. Imagining the band without him was difficult for many fans because of the strong bond they have with Gaither's music and message. Still, some believe Gaither's choice to step back is more about passing the leadership to the next generation of artists in the ministry. In a fictional scenario that touched the hearts of fans worldwide, Bill Gaither walks onto the stage for one of the most emotional moments of his career. The crowd, full of loyal supporters who have followed him for decades, senses that something is different today. Gaither, once full of energy and command, appears slower and more thoughtful. He takes the microphone and looks out at the sea of faces touched by his music, ministry, and message. His usually bright and confident expression now carries a heavy weight of emotion. For a moment, the audience falls silent, waiting for him to speak. Today, Bill Gaither begins, his voice breaking slightly as he gathers his thoughts. I stand here not as the man I used to be, but as someone who has lived a full life, thankful for every moment, every song, and every one of you who made this journey so special. It is with a heart full of love and, yes, a bit of sadness that I announce today will be the end of my active career with the Gaither vocal band. The audience holds its breath. Gasps spread through the crowd. No one was truly ready for this moment, though signs of change had been visible for years. Gaither had been the guiding light of the Gaither vocal band, the driving force behind the music that became a symbol of gospel and inspiration. His powerful voice helped shape contemporary Christian music, and the idea of no longer hearing it the same way felt unimaginable. The room's atmosphere grows heavy as the crowd waits for him to continue. For more than 50 years, this ministry has been my life, Gaither continues, his voice steady but still full of feeling. We've shared the stage, shared our hearts, and shared this message of hope and faith. You have all supported me, and together we have built something I will always treasure. Gaither pauses to collect himself before adding, but now it is time for me to step back. The moment has come for the next generation to take over the work we started together. While this choice is not easy, I have full confidence that the Gaither vocal band and this ministry will keep thriving with the same passion, love, and message that have always been at its core. The crowd stayed quiet for a long moment. Some longtime fans were close to tears, their hearts aching knowing this might be the last time Bill Gaither would lead the band on stage. Others, who had seen him as a cornerstone of Christian music, felt both sadness and deep respect for his choice to hand over the leadership. Gaither's eyes moved across the audience, and his voice grew firmer as he spoke to his fans, his family, and the ministry that meant so much to him. You've given me so much, your love, your prayers, your support. They have always been a steady source of strength. Even though I'm stepping away from the spotlight, I'm not leaving you. I'm passing the baton to those who have stood by me for years, learning, growing, and getting ready for this moment. My son John will take over. He's prepared for this, and I believe he has the heart and vision to keep this ministry going for a long time." John Gaither, who has worked closely with his father in recent years, stepped forward as Bill's words settled over the crowd. A soft murmur spread through the audience. Some fans nodded in understanding, while others were uncertain about what John's leadership might bring. Mixed feelings filled the air, but there was also hope that the ministry would go on even as its leadership changed. "I'll still be around," Gaither reassured the crowd. "Just because I'm retiring from performing doesn't mean I'm leaving completely. I'll be behind the scenes offering guidance, support, and love as always. But the time has come for a new chapter in the Gaither vocal band, and I trust each of you to support John and the team just as you supported me." The audience let out a collective sigh as Gaither finished. Fans stood and applauded, a blend of respect, thanks, and sadness in their claps. For many, this marked the close of a chapter in gospel music. Bill Gaither, the man who had inspired generations with his music, words, and presence, was stepping back, but he left behind a legacy that would last. As the applause continued, Gaither paused to compose himself. His family, including his wife Gloria Gaither, stood proudly beside him. Together they had spent years building this ministry, and now they were ready for what comes next. The torch had been passed, but Bill Gaither's influence, teachings, and music would remain part of the Gaither vocal band's future. "I may be retiring from the stage, he began. "One last time," Gaither said, "one last time," his voice steady and sure. "But I will always be part of this ministry, and so will all of you. This isn't goodbye, it's just the start of a new chapter, and I'm so grateful to have had you all with me on this journey. Thank you for being part of this incredible experience." With that, Bill Gaither stepped back, letting his son John take the spotlight. The crowd erupted in applause again, honoring Bill's incredible legacy and expressing hope for the future of gospel music under John's leadership. The curtain closed, and though Bill Gaither's physical presence was leaving the stage, his legacy would live on in the hearts of fans, family, and the ministry he created. When Bill Gaither announced his retirement from performing and stepping away from the Gaither vocal band, the reactions from family and fans were a mix of sadness, respect, and uncertainty. For decades, Bill had been a key figure in gospel music. His presence on stage, powerful voice, and strong faith had influenced generations. While the news wasn't a total surprise given his age and health, it still struck many deeply. His family, of course, showed the strongest emotional response. Gloria Gaither, his wife and longtime partner in life and ministry, stood by him during the announcement. She had spent many years with Bill, traveling the world and building the ministry side by side. The idea of him stepping down was certainly hard, but Gloria's support never wavered. For her, the moment brought mixed feelings. On one side, she knew Bill needed to rest. His health had been slowly declining over the past few years, which worried both of them. She had witnessed the effects that years of travel, performances, and ministry work had on him. On the other side, Gloria saw the deep love and respect Bill had from fans, and she understood this announcement would be tough for many who saw him as a spiritual leader and source of inspiration. John Gaither, Bill's son, stood beside his father during the announcement. For years, John had been involved in the ministry, working behind the scenes and performing alongside his father. He had been prepared to take over when the time came, but standing before an emotional crowd, he felt the weight of stepping into his father's role. John had always looked up to his father not just as a musician and minister, but as a man with strong integrity and kindness. The idea of leading the ministry Bill had built from scratch was overwhelming. Still, John handled the moment calmly, quietly confident in his readiness for the challenge. His eyes showed emotion, but he knew this wasn't the end of the Gaither legacy. It was just the passing of the torch to the next generation, and he was ready to carry it on. For fans who had followed Bill's ministry for years, the announcement stirred many emotions. Many felt heartbroken at the thought of never seeing Bill perform live again. To them, Bill Gaither was more than a singer. He was a friend, a mentor, and a spiritual guide. His music had been a constant presence, offering encouragement during both good and tough times. Hearing about his retirement left many fans unsure about what the future held for the ministry they had supported for so long. Some fans, though sad, were understanding. They knew Bill had earned his rest. They had watched him give his all to his work for decades, and now it was his time to step back. Many of these fans took to social media to share messages of thanks and love, expressing how much Bill's music had impacted their lives. They shared stories of how his songs had comforted them in grief, encouraged them during doubts, and helped them find joy in their faith. These fans felt deeply connected to Bill and his music, and while they would miss his performances, they trusted the ministry would continue with the same love and dedication Bill had shown all these years. However, some fans felt a sense of betrayal. They had followed Bill and the Gaither vocal band for years, believing in the message of hope and faith they shared. Too many, Bill's retirement meant the end of an era. They wondered what the future would bring for the ministry, especially since Bill had been the driving force behind the band's success. Some worried that the Gaither vocal band would lose its identity without Bill leading. They were used to his presence, and the thought of the ministry continuing without him left them feeling uneasy and anxious. For some, it was hard to picture the Gaither vocal band without the man who had been its center. This uncertainty showed in messages posted online where some fans questioned whether the same passion and authenticity would remain under John's leadership. The reaction from the wider gospel music community was also mixed. Some fellow musicians praised Bill's legacy and supported his decision to retire. They recognized that Bill's contributions to gospel music were huge and that his influence would last for years. Others were more doubtful, wondering if the Gaither vocal band could keep thriving without Bill at the helm. Change is hard, especially for a ministry that is so established and beloved. Yet even with the doubts, there was hope. Many believed John Gaither was well prepared to lead and continue his father's work. They pointed to the years John spent working with Bill, learning about ministry, music, and leadership. For these fans, the future of the Gaither vocal band was in good hands, and they felt confident the ministry would keep growing and reaching new audiences. As Bill Gaither stepped away from the stage, his fans came together to support him and offer prayers for his health. The love from followers was huge, with messages flooding social media from people worldwide who had been touched by his music and ministry. Fans shared memories of attending Gaither concerts, singing along to favorite songs, and feeling the joy Bill's music brought into their lives. While many felt sad about Bill's retirement, they also had deep gratitude for the legacy he created. The Gaither vocal band had impacted millions of lives, and Bill Gaither's influence in Christian music was clear. His retirement marked the end of one chapter, but also the start of a new one for the ministry. The future, though uncertain, was still full of possibilities. Bill's retirement didn't erase the impact he had made. Instead, it opened the door for the next generation of leaders to step up and carry on the work, just like Bill had done many years before. As for what comes next, fans, family, and the larger gospel music community were ready to welcome this new phase with the same love and commitment that had marked Bill Gaither's career. The journey was far from finished, and Bill's legacy would keep inspiring future generations. So, what comes next for Bill Gaither and his ministry? Bill Gaither's retirement has left many wondering about the direction of his ministry and the Gaither vocal band. For decades, Bill has been a leading figure in Christian music, building a legacy that has touched millions. His strong voice, energetic performances, and deep faith have influenced gospel music greatly. But now, as he steps away from the spotlight, the question remains, what's next for Bill Gaither and his ministry? One of the biggest factors in the Gaither vocal band's future is the leadership change. Bill's son, John Gaither, has worked closely with his father for many years, learning both the ministry and the music business. John has been prepared to take on more responsibilities, and many fans believe he will be the one to carry the Gaither legacy forward. John has big shoes to fill, but he's no stranger to performing or being in the spotlight. He has sung with the Gaither vocal band, and has helped with the group's planning and direction for a long time. For John, taking over isn't just about the family name, it's about continuing the mission Bill Gaither has dedicated his life to. The transition won't be simple. Bill Gaither's name is closely linked to gospel music, and his personal touch is a big part of what made the ministry so successful. Fans are used to his special mix of warmth, passion, and spirituality. For many, Bill is more than a performer, he's a spiritual leader who has influenced their faith and music. Still, the future of the Gaither vocal band could also be a fresh start. John Gaither brings his own voice, ideas, and creativity, which could bring new energy and direction to the ministry. It's likely that John will keep honoring his father's legacy while adding his own style to the band. Longtime fans of the Gaither vocal band will probably support John's leadership, understanding that while the ministry is changing, it will remain true to its core. Besides the leadership shift, there's also the question of how Bill Gaither's ministry will adapt in today's world. The digital age has changed how music is